I'd like to say welcome to Sir Ian Taylor. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I'm sitting here.
Good to talk to you. And I was really encouraged when I saw media reports yesterday, and you said we do actually need to have a debate about the treaty.
Yes, we do.
What prompted you to say that? And do you think that is going against the perceived feeling that we mustn't have a discussion about the treaty because it's too difficult?
Yeah, well, it's something I've thought about. It's not something new. As I've watched that, the treaty as it has moved forward, you realise that we did need to have a discussion. What I think has happened, which is what really concerns me, is that discussion about the treaty, what it meant, and how it works best as our founding document going into the future, I think is being hijacked by two minority parties. One of those is ACT on one side, and the other is Te Pātai Māori on the other. And whilst we can debate, I did, as you would have seen in the article I wrote, I supported the response from the young Māori Wahine MP, but I had no time for the kind of vitriol and yelling and shouting that went on that day.
So hang on, you supported her ripping up the bill and doing the haka?
Yes.
She said she did that, Ian, because she didn't get a speaking slot. The fact was the Maori Party did have a speaking slot, but they didn't give it to her.
Yeah. So let's just step back and from the perspective of here we were discussing a treaty. My comment on the haka was that the haka is a response to a challenge that has been put down, and it is a response that has been, if we were talking about the House of Representatives, we are talking about a person who's there representing Māori, and one of the ways, my point of discussion, my view, but what I saw there was that he was a person stepping up in the way that Māori had challenged things for centuries, and she was doing it again. So David had put down a challenge, and that's his right. And Māori have always met challenges directly, up front, and in their face. But that seemed to turn into something that you might be able to do it out there, but you don't do it in here.
Would you make a gun, turn your finger into a gun and point it at David Seymour? Is that the way?
So that's the other thing. That's the comment I made again. There are different gestures that go on. I didn't see that, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But again, that is a discussion. If that happened, it is totally unacceptable. But again, it is about the interpretation of it. What was it? I would find that totally unacceptable if that's what happened. But equally, we need to step back and say, is it what happened, or is that somebody's interpretation of what happened?
What the pictures show happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is what happened. So it is what happened. That's what the video shows.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I could go back and look at it. And if that is what happened, it is unacceptable in my view.
Yeah. All right. Let's look then. You say, and I think it's a good point you're making, in that the problem with political polarisation is the people who get all the coverage are the extremes of the argument. You say on one side is the Maori Party, on the other side is ACT. What's extreme about the three fundamental principles of the Treaty Principles Bill? That they should be: 1, the government has a right to govern. 2, we honour, except where we need to honour the promises made in the Treaty of Waitangi to Hapu and Iwi. And 3, we're all equal but before the law. Where is the extremism in that position?
Well, actually, rather than extreme, it's simplistic.
It's what?
And I think it's simplistic.
Well, but generally principles are.
But if we...
What's simplistic about equality for all, then?
Equality for all. That number 3 is right. There's equality and equity. What we need to start to do, equity is really is really important, because
No.
if we think about
The difference between equality and equity.
if we think about equality for all, then what the treaty has been dealing with since 1840, as it's moved through, is trying to bring that equality back, and it's still not back. You know,
Well, no, you're talking about equity, not equality. Equality before the law.
Equality. So if we look at what has happened over the years, we're starting to see that happen. There was one of the things that people have sort of picked out, and I looked at read a really good coverage of this, was that equality before the law. Number 3 is what was said in both versions of the treaty.
Mm.
It's just that in number 1 and number 2, we are talking about different interpretations in the language that was used.
Okay, number 1, the government has the right to govern. What issue do you have with that?
Okay, so let me. Again, you know, we don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but sovereign that comes under like the English version, and we've got to remember that what the point I made yesterday was that the majority of the people in 1840.
Do you disagree with the idea that the government has the right to govern?
So let's just go to what the treaty says. The English version of the treaty, Article 1, claims that Article 1 says Māori cede the sovereignty of New Zealand to
there
Britain.
we go, bang.
Yes, that's the English version.
Yeah.
Now, the Māori version, which is signed by 500 chiefs at a time when the population, you know, this is the referendum. You want a referendum, you take the referendum at the time the treaty was signed. 1840, 90,000 Māori, 2,000 Pākehā. And so my point is, isn't the first discussion, which of the treaties do we
Are you saying that Maori didn't cede sovereignty?
Yeah, well, here's the point. So
no. It's a question, Ian. It doesn't require debate. It requires you to tell me what your position is.
Are you going to stop yelling?
And so, I'm saying to you, is it?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
No, see, again, well, this is not how you have discussions. Like, my point is this, your point is that. It's not.
No, my point is that I asked you a question and I expect an answer.
And I'm trying to answer it.
Yeah.
I expect a discussion. You expect an answer. So what I'm trying to do is to say, back to the very point of all of this, there were 2 versions of the treaty. Mm-hmm. One was in English and one was in Māori. Mm-hmm. The majority of the people of the country at the time signed the Māori version. So now we go to Article 1. Māori cede the sovereignty of New Zealand to Britain, which is your argument, but that was the English version. The Māori version, sovereignty was translated as kawanatanga, which means governance, and many chiefs believe they were ceding the government of the country but maintaining the rights to manage their affairs. So there is a really critical one.
And I don't mind that, but it still means that the government of New Zealand has the right to govern, which is the first point of the Treaty Principles Bill. So actually we agree on that. The government has the right to govern.
No, we don't agree yet, because this is the discussion.
You just told me that kawanatanga is the Māori interpretation. Government has the right to govern.